Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 354 of the Saturn Studs Podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again this week by my historian co-hosts, Peter and Jake.
That's right, Kurt. It's the missing molar edition of the cast. Don't ask how I know that. In fact, don't ask how I know what any of these editions are.
Peter,
you think I make them up? They come to me. They're delivered to me.
Peter, I'm merely a conduit.
Not that it applies to you, but there was the picture of a molar that you may or may not have sent to me. I definitely showed that to other people. I hope that didn't.
I'm so glad. It's freakish.
Well, I just told. So I know Dave's girlfriend is a in the mortuary business, in the dead people business. Oh. So I was like, "Hey, want to see a tooth?" She just was like, "Yes." No context as to where I found it.
I swear to God, the thing has a kickstand. Yeah, so for any of you curious about my battered house husband appearance, despite the fact that I live alone, no, it wasn't ghosts.
Fell down. You actually ran into a door.
You can't have shit in this part of town. They'll take your teeth out.
Yeah, you were just minding your own business in a hospital, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, got any teeth? I'm the tooth fairy." And then Danny DeVito came over in a pink tutu, and a fucking just a big
a pair of pliers.
Yeah, just a big rusty pair of pliers that he got out of a toolbox.
I like the right angle kind too, so he's like fishing around trying to get it lined up.
You are too close to the truth. So they fucking all right. They numbed me up, and the two dentists get going who I was supposed to see. They start at it and they're like pulling and they're like twisted. They got like I think they got like a little a wedge in there, like a pry bar to kind of like get it down from the upside. Yep. And I'm feeling this. I'm like, they're like yanking my head. My tooth is twisting within my skull.
Oh,
I feel it wiggling. And I'm like, all right, how's it going? And
it's
they're
very
like,
uncomfortable.
It's going. One second. And they walk away, and they say like, hey, Johnny, can you come over here for a second? And in comes the big head dentist, Johnny. And he just goes, all right. He puts the fucking bite block in. He grabs out the bigger pair of pliers. He's like, look, it's not that hard. You just got to really go for it. And he starts pulling, and he's doing like the swivel, like the butter churner to get some room in there. And he gets it right around the time you hear the first snap of one of the ligaments. He's like, all right, I think that gets it there. I'll leave the rest to you. He's like, oh my, you're so good, Johnny. You got most of it done.
You mean they didn't just tie a string to it and go to a door? You know,
it's the personalized experience.
I thought that's how tooth pullings happen. They just do the door trick.
So they pulled the rest out with a snap, crackle, and a pop of whatever else was inside. and they all go, oh, holy shit, this thing's fucking huge. These roots are going out at like angles.
You always want to hear the dentist.
Come over here. Take a look at this.
You always want to hear the doctor say, oh, holy shit.
Holy shit, dude. It's never words you want to hear coming from a medical professional's mouth.
Like, I thought you told me this thing was septic. That's why we're pulling it out.
That or in here? The also bad is I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Or just the classic. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Code something. And of course, as always, we're coming at you live in person. As always,
at your door.
At your door.
In your house.
We're right outside. Hi. Hello.
The more important question, Jake, I think, is when are we? particularly in relation to 80s techno anthem, Pump Up the
Belgian
Jam.
techno anthem.
Belgian techno anthem, Pump Up the Jam.
I'm sure they. I'm
You
sure
know
a
what?
bunch of people, Googled it.
After watching that series, I have a sneaking suspicion
Yeah.
that we may share a home planet with the lady from Pump Up the Jam. Our planet is also home planet is also 70% water.
We are coming at you 34 years after the release of infamous song by
Belgian techno
Technotronic,
anthem.
Pump Up the Jam. That was when it happened the second time, I was like, good callback. And then the third time I was like, oh, so this is gonna be a thing.
It's gonna be in every episode.
And then I started to enjoy it, which was the problem.
Well, so they cleverly, slowly, as they knew it was gonna maybe start to grate on some people, added in the text, which gave it far more legs than it had any right to.
Definitely did. If you're going out, can you get me a Coke Zero and a Twix?
That's a
sorry.
joke I would fucking make.
Sorry, that was meant for the runner. I always like to pick up on British people's like verbiage and jargon on certain things. So like calling apartments flats and calling their friends mates and whatnot. It's always it's one of my simple human pleasures. It's a thing that brings me great joy.
You like watching someone stop down to the pub for a chip buddy?
Yeah, or like when they say, "Hey, I gotta run down to Tesco real quick," the Tesco station, and I'm like, "What is that?" Funny words.
That's not a word.
Have you ever seen the video "Day in the Life of a True Brexit Geezer"?
I can't say as though I have.
It's so good.
No, that didn't pop up on my TikTok.
That's not one I got in the bag.
Fucking God.
Shockingly, I know. You know me, big old
Day in the
Brexit
life
fan.
of a true Brexit geezer. It's just this video that's like going through this dude's day, and it's all like British white trash. And it's
Genius annotation. Okay, here we go. Cool. All right, yeah. There is a Genius page about Pump Up the Jam.
I'm so glad. Like, why wouldn't there be?
Written by Manuela Camosi, alias as Ya Kid K, and Thomas DeQuincy, aka Joe Bogert. Pump Up the Jam was Technotronic's debut single. Its music is heavily based on a track named Technotronic that DeQuincy had released earlier in the year under the name Pro 24s. Pump Up the Jam peaked at number 2 in the UK in late 1989 and also reached number 2 in the US in early 1990. There's no interesting stuff about this, but I'm kind of surprised that it hit number 2.
I thought it hit number 1.
It was in people's brains.
People were pumping up the jam.
Pump Up the Jam.
I listened to it on the regular even before this groundbreaking series brought it back again to the masses.
So, you know, who's the lady that's singing? Is that Ya Kid K?
I
think so.
I mean, if you want to call that singing, I don't know that I necessarily.
I think you're just calling it out. Yeah.
Is it rap? I don't know if I can call it rap either.
I would say it leans more towards rap than singing.
I would almost say like just MC. She's just MCing over the song.
She's like Little John if Little John didn't shout every word.
Yeah.
Pump up the jam.
I don't want a place to stay. I didn't know the lyrics of it. Like we've all heard the song, but like the lyrics were like, I don't want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight.
That part is singing.
What?
Yes.
A place?
She sings the hook.
Yes.
Yes.
and then kind of like
Yo, pump up the jam. Pump it up while your feet are
feet are
stomping.
stomping, and
And
the
the
jam.
jam is pumping.
I used to think that it was your feet are stumping, like you're not moving, like you're a tree stump.
Well,
That's
they
what
are
happens.
Belgian, so
Yeah, that's what happens when the fucking
It sounds
Swiss try
like
to...
stumping to me. Am I the only? Is that
No,
crazy?
no. Some of the pronunciations definitely get jumbled up there, lost in translation, as they would say. You know, across the pond in
I
Belgium.
mean, Bill Murray
Yes,
was
oh,
in that movie.
Belgium.
Mm,
Oh, that's right. Dr. Evil was Belgian.
Oh, he was raised by Belgians.
I really, if
They
they
made
ever
him
make
so evil.
when they finally make fucking Austin Powers 4, I really want to see Dr. Evil. Like, oh, it was an anthem of my youth. It was a complete pleasure listen, a guilty pleasure of mine, listening to "Pump Up the Jam" by Technotronic, a true Belgian piece of cultural mastery.
See, Peter, this is where I have to stop you. If you knew anything about Austin Powers, you would know that Dr. Evil was frozen in space
That's true.
between the years 1969 and 1997.
I gotta disqualify myself from life. Yeah.
Some people, man. Anyway, let's talk trailers.
We're gonna talk trailers for either a very short time or a very long time because it was the super game, the big bowl.
The big game.
Fuck the refs.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Shitty way to end a great game.
To be fair, that is holding. You are not allowed to do that.
Yeah, but it seems like the way the refs were calling
They were letting
shots
it go
all game were saying, hey, if it's really not that like impeding to the game, we're really not going to call it. Or if it's not like an egregious hold, we're not going to call it. There was no holds the entire game until there was the slightest hold. And the only it only allowed them to run out the clock in like the most anticlimactic to what would have been one of the best Super Bowl games in history. And it just kind of like, I mean, everyone says it was like one of the best, but kind of the field made it suck real hard.
Oh, that turf.
And now there are claims
garbage.
that the
I think people like it because there was actually scoring. And, there were a lot of lead changes, a lot of ties. It was a pretty good game.
It's a game for the people.
I'm on the conspiracy train that the turf master or whatever, the guy who the sod master was a diehard Chiefs fan, and he told the chefs ahead of time that the turf sucked and to wear certain shoes because the Eagles were the ones that were changing shoes a lot and slipping more often.
They made like a point of that. I don't know.
I saw plenty of the
that,
Chiefs slipping and sliding, especially on that first touchdown the Eagles scored on the sneak. Like the Chiefs defensive line got zero push.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they were on roller skates.
Yeah.
Here's my actual conspiracy is that like the fact that so much of sports betting is so in bed with like actual players at this point that like I don't know, my conspiracy is like the whole fucking game was rigged so it would be exciting and close and no one could call any fucking bets, or it would be very it would win them a lot of money from the people who were doing sports betting.
Well,
the score is very close to what was the league script. So what wasn't leaked or what was leaked? Actually, most of these fucking trailers were leaked
before the game. Yeah.
So it begs the question: is it really a Super Bowl commercial if they release it like days before?
Does it air during the Super Bowl?
I don't fucking care.
Then
it's just another commercial to me. It's just another commercial to me. It's not. It doesn't get the moniker Super Bowl commercial. It gets
if it
the
airs
moniker
during the Super Bowl.
I think if it premieres during if it debuts,
debut. Yeah.
during the Super Bowl, because like
Yeah.
all those like I don't know the mediocre commercials for like what's on CBS this week. Like, damn.
Well,
It
they're
does.
your local stations. They are given ad time. They fill it. Look, in strict categorization, if an ad airs during the Super Bowl, it is a Super Bowl ad. You might not like it, but that's what peak performance looks like.
So I wanna run through real quick. Let's just name them off, and then we'll select a few of them to go over.
Okay.
So you had a cool Super Mario Bros. Promo, not really plot related. You had the Flash. You had Transformers: Rise of the Beast, Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, we had Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny. You had the Flash. You had Creed 3. You
Can't
had
believe they're making a fourth Indiana Jones movie. It's crazy.
Wait, isn't this number 5?
No, Jake. There's Raiders, there's
You-
Temple, and then there's The Last Crusade, and
You
no
have
other
Air.
Indiana Jones movies.
Everybody
What
was
about
on
what
their
about
feet.
the Last
for Air.
Airbender? Right.
Everybody
That
was on
the
the.
Indiana Jones and the Last Airbender. That was. The
I
fourth
jumped
one.
out on my Jordans for Air. You have that's Little Mermaid.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
I'm
talked
going
about
in order.
Air last week.
Yeah. So you had Little Mermaid do a TV spot during the Super Bowl, possibly, or is that just a TV spot? I don't know. You had some other shit like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but we're gonna pick a handful of them and rifle through them, starting with
Roll those dice, Jake.
Love Again. Let's get the boring one out of the way that wasn't a Super Bowl commercial.
Oh my fucking.
So,
All right.
movies in the trailer. Get that out of the way. Drink from movies in the trailer.
Yeah. It's pretty much standard rom-com fare. Except this time, the boyfriend died.
It's like the Notebook, right?
I don't think so. I think the Notebook was
No.
one of them was getting Alzheimer's, and they wanted to remember
Yeah.
all the times they had with their
Oh.
lover before.
Okay,
they...
I thought maybe it was like Silver Linings Playbook. What was the one where like the guy died and he gave his girlfriend like the bucket list to do after he died?
I don't think it was Silver Linings Playbook. I don't
What was the
know.
one with the magical mailbox?
I think that's just called the mailbox. Or the house by the lake. I don't know.
That's almost a horror movie.
That might be a horror movie. It very well could be.
And those are the only unique romance movie premises. There are no others.
Nick Jonas, the main character's husband, pops up in this bad boy. I had to look that one up because I was looking who he was playing in it, and it didn't show him in the credits on IMDb.
I saw a Jonas in the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, there's Jonas in here. All right.
So the main girl is Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Yeah.
So this is like the Jonas couple passion project.
Yeah, most well known for her role in We Can Be Heroes, which is the Shark Boy and Lava Girl spinoff.
I see.
That's great when that's your biggest credit.
No, it's not. She's actually in a few things. Matrix Resurrections, Nick Jonas Spaceman,
the movie,
The White Tiger.
The movie we were thinking of, Peter, is The Lake House.
Okay.
Starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Why
A
didn't he
2006 fantasy romance film.
Why didn't he just crawl in the mailbox? That's all. That's all I was gonna say.
Because he's not a fucking contortionist. Although the movie comes from South Korea. I don't know what that has to do. I guess I think the first contortionist I ever saw was Korean, and for some reason that made an association in my brain between the Korean people and contortionists. I feel like they've got contortionists, surely.
Yes, somewhere in the country.
And I'm sure they're world class.
Yeah. So the premise of this movie is new
What movie are
hot
we
guy
talking
gets
about?
old
Oh,
hot
okay.
guy's phone and gets her gets the love's texts and gets to like, oh, I get a cheat code to this romance.
I thought she was gonna he was gonna start messaging him back.
Which was kind of a hold up moment for me, because like, what are you doing, texting your dead spouses?
People do that shit.
But
People like leave messages with their on their dead spouse's like phone. They'll like
Yeah.
call them, and it's like a diary kind of thing.
they reassign numbers. People gotta know that.
It's true. And this kind of thing also does happen, but it's not as cute and it's resolved in 1 second
Yeah.
when they finally text and you're like, and the guy texts back and says, "Hey, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I have this number now. I'm sure your boyfriend was great, and I hope your life is good." And like, and then it's done. Or she's like, "Oh, you're so nice," and they meet because I've heard that happen. What was
Well,
there
isn't
was the
that's
one
basically what this movie is, except with more
yeah.
catfishing.
Well,
Y'all
yeah,
remember what was that Reddit family where it was like the couple and they like accidentally showed up to like these old couples like Thanksgiving or something? Like there was a crossed wire with the texting.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like
I
they
vaguely
got lumped
remember.
into some massive group chat, and they just like kind of went along with it, I think. And I think when they showed up, they were like, "Who are you?" And
And they're like, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
parent and the old couple's like, well, we love making food for people, and you seem like nice people. Let's have Thanksgiving
yeah.
together. And now it's like an entire thing where they meet every year, and it's like totally wholesome and like improbable,
This,
and everyone
however, is
loves it.
not totally wholesome because the guy does not tell her, and then kind of stalks her based off the information she's unwittingly providing him. And then gets a date with her and catfishes the shit out of her because it's one sided at that point. He knows who she is.
I feel like you know all about me.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Kind of knows all your deepest darkest secrets.
So
So,
big
and,
oof there.
and then he's finally gonna say something, or she's gonna see his phone. He's gonna find out that he's been cheating on her with her.
Well, you know where this comes up with, because at the end of this day, or actually when he asks her on the date, she probably says something to the effect of, "Hey, can I get your phone number?"
Yeah.
Oh well, no, that's a
Well,
work
that's why he
number.
plays it off. That's the first date, and he plays it off, and
Remember,
it's like a
this is a work number. So he's got
Oh,
two
I
phones.
missed that
Yeah,
detail.
yeah,
I missed that detail.
yeah.
I was not watching the Love Again trailer super closely. You'll be shocked to know.
No, were you instead watching the Kanandadar teaser trailer?
candor, pure
Uh,
true candor.
No, I was not, because I did not watch that trailer.
the
It's
it
Gerard Butler in the desert again.
yeah,
He's back.
it's once again we
Could you
get some
believe
lovely
Gerard Butler in a military action role?
yeah, we get some nice military propaganda about destabilizing another country's nuclear system. And then he gets outed as a spy or some shit and probably should die, but he doesn't. He gets a lot of other people dead, but not him. He's the main character. He's Gerard Butler. He's gonna live.
Gerard Butler.
Charbroil.
Jarburl.
He
That's our new name for him is Jarburl.
he
Charbroil.
don't die, and that's Kendar. And we move on to
Thank you, Dr. Steve Brule.
Can't.
we got a lot of new scenes out of Guardians of the Galaxy, the Super Bowl trailer. The main villain looks kind of freaky because his face looks like it's stapled together.
Looks
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be, if they do it too much, because we finally get to see Gamora in this. So they kind of let the cat out of the bag that like Gamora's gonna be a decently okay like sized part of the movie. They find her and she's like not into Peter Quill because she's a different Gamora.
Yeah,
and
she
I
was
think
in Endgame.
and I think they're just gonna like play it up a little bit too much. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Gamora was only in that for a little bit, and I don't think Peter ever got to like be like, "Hey, we used to be in love," and now he's gonna do that, and she's gonna be like, "You get away from me, you fucking suck," because he does suck.
Yeah,
He kinda
and
does
we get to see Adam Levine or Golden Adam.
Yes. Yep. Adam Levine.
Warlock, who arrives to the MCU too little, too late to matter.
Yeah. Where like they're gonna essentially rip out and gut his backstory because like it's not created the same way he was in the comics, not for the purpose he was intended in the comics. And they're kind of just gonna make up shit with him. And when they do that with characters, it's kind of not great.
They don't have a
forgettable
track record of that now.
I think the saving grace for this is probably going to be Rocket's backstory. He's going to get a pretty solid end of his arc. He's going to die. Maybe they all die. Who knows? It'd be sure great if they just all died. I don't know.
Well,
I'm done with them.
Depends on whose contracts have more movies on them.
Yeah. We'll see who we'll pick out who dies based off the contracts that have gone public.
It's coming out Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Don't want to step on the toes of Quantumania.
Yeah, gotta give it some distance. Speaking of Quantumania, we get bullshit from Little Mermaid. She sings a little bit, and we see the guy who she kisses. That's it.
It's coming along slowly.
Do we even
slowly.
see? Oh, we see the ass of. Do we see the ass of Flounder? I don't know. Do we see any of like the other people, like the crab, sea bass, and? Did we go to school with him?
Yes,
Sebastian.
We did go to school.
For China, he will be Sebastian. Or is that Japan rather?
Oh, we see a smidge of Ursula. That's it.
But what about Ursaluna?
Ursaluna. No, fuck Ursaluna. What I really want to get into is how freaking hyped I am for The Flash.
Please tell us how hyped you are for The Flash. I am not. I don't feel any kind of way about it.
There's one part of this trailer that obviously excites me.
Right.
Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just Michael Keaton, but like full on. What if 1989 Batman universe continued Michael Keaton? Because it's the same costume, it's the same Batmobile, it's the same sort of like set design for the Batcave.
Yeah.
Like it is fan service in the most flagrant way possible, but I am here for it.
This movie is the most beautiful clusterfuck of all time. Because like if you told me after Batman v Superman, you're like, all right. So it's Ezra Miller and Ezra Miller in an alternate timeline fighting a Zod, and then the Buster Keaton Batman comes back in.
You know, I gotta
Buster
say,
Keaton Batman.
I know you just said the name.
Michael Keaton,
like Michael Jordan.
You say that, but sorry. Michael Keaton as Batman, a little bit of fan service, a little like kind of ingenious way to make the movie and kind of tie in. Batman's like this entity that always gets swapped around like that one girl in college, and she's great. She makes everybody happy every single time, but kind of in the back of your mind, you're like, who had her last? So with including this, you kind of open up the realm of possibility to introduce this and make it make sense to have all the other Batmans and different timelines and all that jazz. And it's just a simple way to like kind of wrap it up and include some of that past lore, and now they can pick and choose which Batmans they kind of want to bring back in or leave out. If they ever want to do that in the future, not saying they definitely will, but there can be fan service to that, or at least fan canon that they think that has.
Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like he's gonna have a
Right.
bigger role than just like kind of popping up and being like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, with how much he's in the trailer, I expect him to be the primary Batman in the movie.
Yeah.
You also see Ben Affleck, but and some Batman with a different costume.
Right.
So presumably there's at least two main skirmishes in this movie set in different timelines.
I like to think like this. My conception of how this movie happened as it did was one. Oh, first, I'm really surprised that they just like we absolutely have to have Ezra Miller for this shit.
Well, I think
Real life,
I want to
good,
say a lot
good
of this
evil Ezra Miller.
was filmed before he had all his
His,
Yeah.
his
issues.
crime spree.
And
Yeah.
they could not. And I mean, look at how many big names are in this. So they can't just go and scrap this movie
Like they did with Batgirl.
with
Yeah.
Batgirl because there's a lot of money and investment, and I think they're kind of banking on this being the revival of the DC, DC
So this
cinematic
is
universe.
kind of an interesting thing to me, right? Because this does seem like the perfect opportunity to kind of do a reset for James Gunn's
Yeah.
DCEU, but this movie was in production a good bit before James Gunn got handed the creative reins. So I don't know how much input he had in this. If this is going to be like the launching point for his vision for the DC universe, are we going to have another Crisis on Multiple Earths sort of movie
something.
event?
I like it's like Spider-Man and the multiverse of No Way Home. Spider-Man and the multiverse of home comes in. They did a fast break down the court. It's in the last 10 seconds of the fucking game. They give the alley-oop to DC, and DC's in here in like a fucking water polo unitard coming in on a Quidditch broom trying to they're like, so we go for a home run, right? And they grab like they're up there and they grab it in the football stance and they fucking throw it over the over the backboard trying to get a fucking field goal. Like that's how I feel.
I think there's enough. I think there's enough kind of creative options that they can do to where this may have been their plan all along, is to reset the universe. Kind of, it seems like it was already going that way even before James Gunn was confirmed.
Yeah,
or had joined the team.
We had heard a while back. I don't exactly know when, but a while back that the Flash movie was going to be based on Flashpoint Paradox, and they were going to kind of use it to reconcile certain actors leaving.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I think with James Gunn coming back, I think it kind of just confirmed the direction that they're heading. Because I think a lot of people were assuming that, okay, maybe with that it's going to tie into the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson, or maybe it could like tie in the Joker side of that. Where when James Gunn came in, he kind of said, "Those are side projects. Just think of that as like elsewhere." And it's nothing's really changing with those. But the main timeline, here's what direction we're heading with, and I think this is going to be the thing to set everything up.
Yeah.
Kind of like the would it be the No Way Home?
Yeah.
Or the Multiverse of Madness kind of thing, where they kind of are opening up the idea to multiple timelines and resetting shit.
I mean, at the very least, it's going to do that, and I think that's a way, because like, he said, the Robert Pattinson, the Batman thing is a separate thing. It's an Elseworld story.
Which part of me is kind of disappointed, because they set that up as more of
I don't know that it works in the kind of more comic book and fanciful DC.
Because it's a more grounded Batman. It's right. It's more grounded, more realistic.
At the same time, though, kind of what you were saying, Kurt, like DC's power, I think in the sphere of comic book movies, is their like unfathomable ability to wield the weirdest shit possible. Like
Mhm.
Marvel's universe is a very coherent universe of like people and relatable things, and like it's aliens, but like they kind of have a civilization like ours, and they have motivations and stuff. And it's like, okay, I get what's going on, and oh, there's magic here, but like, you know, it's very kind of well integrated into the world. Meanwhile, fucking Batman and Constantine going into hell to like prank Dracula and shit. And there's like a fucking monkey there for some reason. And you just go with it because you're like, yeah, no, they explain this somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like,
Everyone knows
oh,
that's Bonzo the monkey. Everyone, yeah.
yeah,
From
fucking,
from
oh, hey,
Batman
look,
number
is that,
67.
yeah, is that, what's that Batman with the, you know, it's the Batman with the zebra print costume, who's actually just an alien who kind of, it happens to look exactly like Batman, but with a zebra print fucking costume. That's it. Let me see.
Well,
That's an actual Batman.
leading
variant.
off of what you said, I think one of DC's strengths is its storytelling ability and the fact that it can do a lot with a lot of their comic lines. And I'm hoping that this pulling directly from you know, a Flashpoint Paradox timeline, which they are changing it up a
Well,
little
I
bit.
mean, they've changed it up significantly. Like this, other than the like he goes into an alternate timeline, this in very little way resembles Flashpoint Paradox.
Yeah, they are changing some things in there, so who knows if it's going to be as good. Oh, that's
No, I'm trying to look. So I'm trying to look for the Batman from Another World, and I found Zebra Man, who is a Batman villain. Batman from Another.
because I don't know if they confirmed it.
Batman of Zurin R. Yes, that's the one. Fuck me. Like this is the DC like club of the cudgel of insanity. Who is
because the one thing that like I know they are changing up in a significant way is making Michael Keaton's the essentially the Batman he meets when he goes back in time is apparently Bruce Wayne. Yeah, okay, there it is. IMDb has it listed as Bruce Wayne and not Thomas Wayne like it was in the comics.
Yeah.
And that creates some really sentimental shit. With
so
you know,
well, yeah, in the alternate timeline that Flash goes to in Flashpoint, Bruce is the one who gets shot in Crime Alley. And it pushes his father to become Batman, and it like breaks his mother who becomes the Joker.
And you get this really touching scene eventually where Bruce writes Flash a letter to give it to Thomas, where Thomas reads it, or is it vice versa?
I think
Thomas gives Bruce
gives
a letter
it for Bruce.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Thomas gives Bruce the letter. He reads it, and it breaks everybody. It's a good sentimental moment, and you get these shocking scenes where you see Superman, who's skin and bones, because the government
alternate Earth Superman.
they've trapped him in some laboratory, and he hasn't had access to the sun. And that's getting replaced with Supergirl. So they're going to bring Kara into this, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just another change, and just kind of begs the question as to why the change. Maybe they don't want to like pull the trigger on confirming a Superman right away.
Well, I feel like it makes sense for. This is why I'm kind of a little uncertain of where this movie fits in the bigger picture, because like if you're trying to reboot it into James Gunn's vision and Supergirl's going to be part of that vision, it makes sense to have that character there. That's an appropriate place to introduce it. Or maybe you just want to introduce that character to your audience. I think people might be like really put off by government test subject Superman in their movie.
Sure. That might be hard to do, because they probably, whoever they pick would probably still have to be somewhat digitally reduced.
They'll get Timothy Chalamet to do it. He's lanky enough, but still looks like
that
Superman.
Actually would be pretty solid. But yeah, it looks okay. It looks pretty good.
I'm
I'm always hopeful for DCU because I want them to win. I want it to win one.
Yeah, like they go so fucking wild
I
with all the stuff they do. Because
this
like at the same time as all of this, they're producing Joker, Voila du, or however you pronounce that shit. And they put out the first like still with him and Lady Gaga as Harley. Like that's gonna be a trip.
Yeah, I feel like this is DC Warner Brothers taking what amounts to their best shot. They've got another like round of data. They saw what No Way Home did. They're like, okay, if we can nail this one, we can build on something. And it looks okay. It looks interesting. Certainly, I'm more excited by this trailer than I've been for probably any other DC trailer, which, have a history of being not so great.
They're really good at making trailers.
My man Momoa
that's what scares me.
a staple here. But yeah, like I've been disappointed one too many times to say that I'm like really optimistic or really excited for this.
Yeah, because so many things can still go wrong,
Yeah, the writing could be shit.
Yeah, the writing could be absolutely awful. Ezra Miller as Barry Allen has been okay, depending on
for the 16 minutes of screen time he's gotten. Yeah,
we don't know 100%, but he was better in the Snyder Cut. He was written a little bit better in there. We don't know much about Supergirl. Michael Keaton, obviously, I think giving Michael Keaton like a darker bit to the DC universe and like seeing how he's changed is going to be the icing on the fucking cake for this movie. And I just hope it's not like using that as the only thing it's going to be good at.
And that's like, well, I mean, yeah, like I know going into this movie, I'll have at least one nice thing to say about it, which is a leg up from pretty much every other DC movie I've ever seen.
Because if the rumored villain is in fact what they're doing, I don't think it's gonna be. I think that's gonna be the weak point.
I mean, who's the rumored villain? I don't worry about spoilers.
Dark Flash has been rumored to be the actual villain.
Reverse Flash.
No, not Reverse Flash. Flash.
Not Zoom.
and not Zod. Zod is like
he's
like kind of the red herring.
Kind of like a set, like a background element.
Yeah, and that's why they need to break Supergirl out, and then Supergirl breaks out and probably shoves his shit in, which will be really cool to watch, And then for whatever reason, maybe Dark Flash is out there pulling the strings to maybe. I don't know why they wouldn't do a Reverse Flash. I mean, it doesn't make sense why they wouldn't. Why they would make up something new. Black Flash? Is that what the comic book version is called?
I don't think bring in the CW Flash. That's one of the greatest villains of all time.
The Reverse Flash, yeah, like Professor Zoom is what he's more commonly known as, I feel. So it always throws me off when people say Reverse Flash. I'm like, what? No. What? You mean Zoom?
Well, his reverse colors. He's got the yellow suit and the red lightning.
Yes.
See, he's reverse.
Yeah, I understand. But I don't think he calls himself Reverse Flash.
He says that iconic line, "Run, Barry. Run away from Reverse Flash. Me." I remember that.
Totally. Yeah, you know what? I'm interested to see this movie just because, like, DC, their movies just consist, as long as it's not like the mainline. I guess this is the mainline films, but they're taking it in a direction, which is, even if you deviate even slightly from their mainline films, it's all curveballs. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. Shit like Shazam. Like that just kind of like happened. We were like, yeah, wow, okay. You should like Peacemaker. We were like, all right, we're we're gonna take this one character from Suicide Squad and do a whole series on him, and it's gonna be like this raunchy adult comedy. It's fucking amazing. There's the Harley Quinn and the Harley Quinn animated show. There's fucking Doom Patrol. Like DC has such creative wells to just pull stuff off of, and I feel like this is in that area, in that arena. So if they can pull it off, I'm super excited.
I
just don't be
it's
boring.
like fucking weird. I have a hard time imagining. Well, actually, I could very easily imagine it being boring. Just like Fast X, Jason Momoa is now in the movie, and John Cena's now part of the family. So when Fast 11 comes out, Jason Momoa will be part of the family. So this franchise will continue until one of two things happens. We experience the heat death of the universe, or they run out of new actors to bring into these movies.
I thought you were going to say new ideas. I was like,
oh,
what?
no, there will never be a new idea.
That was after like the third one.
Yeah.
Although there is a street race shown in this movie, which is more in touch with its roots than anything I've seen in a Fast and Furious trailer in a long time.
The thing that concerns me about this is that they are ruining Rome, and that's a little Italiophobic. And
I'm surprised they don't do like a circuit around the Colosseum.
They probably do.
Yeah.
I mean, they show it in the
you get that
distance.
shot of Vin Diesel in front of the Colosseum.
I'm surprised Italy said, "Hey, yeah, you can use these, roads as set props if you need it."
So they brought Jason Statham's back.
Yep.
But The Rock isn't, because he and Vin Diesel are beefing, I guess.
Yeah, this is it doesn't. It's just there's people fighting. I see they use the gadget from fucking Winter Soldier where they throw the magnetic mine under the car.
It's just delayed MCU.
Yeah, this is just like a low level MCU side character story.
Yeah,
I can see this whole crew being in a division of Shield.
A C tier superhero team.
Absolutely. Yes,
with the Toretto family.
The Toretto family. Oh my God, yes. You have them fighting. I don't know who. See, what superhero would you pair them up against if they were, or supervillain?
The Foot Clan.
No. Even better. You would never see it coming. Global warming. That's the villain they're going up against. They're going up against global warming because the Fast family has always been combustion engine powered. And now they have to turn to their only savior, Elon Musk, to provide them with a fleet of souped up Teslas to fight the bad villain global warming.
No, they have to use electric vehicles this time.
I'm waiting for that.
Electric vehicles.
It's just all quiet.
Electric vehicles accelerate so much better.
Be like Tesla arcs.
You're 100% right. I'm seeing that the scene where he's on top of the dam and he just accelerates so fast the front end pops up a little bit. I'm like, yeah, look at all that lost energy right there. Tesla would do it 10 times better.
Electric cars are fucking monsters on the track.
Yeah.
The electric fucking supercars are just ungodly fast.
Yeah, Porsche Taycans are nutty. It's amazing what you can buy.
With the right oil.
So yeah, no, it's interesting because
is it?
We're also going to talk about John Wick in a second, and
that was what I planned to do next. Oh, Peter, you know me so well.
Oh. So this is this is what the Predator and the fucking the Rambo and all the the action movie franchises of the 80s, like this is what they are now. It's like Fast and the Furious and like John Wick, where you don't go into the theater expecting anything but like, I want to see cars go fast and blow up and like things fly, and then you go to John Wick and I want to see Keanu Reeves shoot a gajillion dudes and do his gun tight to his chest.
That was great radio.
As he spasms around like tight cover. That's, it's the Keanu Reeves John Wick move where like he keeps like he's like seized up with his arms up to his chest, and like he does like the twist around like a fence post or something.
Yeah, they're just dumb action fun. Like this is the VHS era had 1 million of these movies, and it was wonderful. And you know what? For all the not so great things I can say about Hobbs and Shaw as a film, it sure was a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not always for the reasons that they probably intended it, but I
when you see
went
the
to
Rock
that movie.
flex out of a cast.
Yeah, I went to that movie, and we had no plans to do on the show. I walked out of that theater, and I texted Peter and Jake. I'm like, that movie belongs in the Smithsonian. We have to review it for next week.
It's Black Superman versus the Samoan Warriors.
Black Superman.
Roman Reigns does the ooh-ah.
He has been the tribal chief ever since.
He you know what? Not too far off. took maybe a couple years after the movie came out.
But here he is.
But that was his start down the path to tribal chiefdom. And he will be conquered by the white savior, Cody Rhodes, at WrestleMania.
I'm the American nightmare.
Here comes capitalism. John Wick.
John Wick 4, yes.
It's
John Wick 4 hours long.
It's just John Wick.
Is John Wick doing John Wick things?
I guess there's a wedding this time.
It's in Paris.
And a lot of bad CG blood and bad CG cars and interesting set pieces with LED light squares.
Yeah. I mean, John Wick is just, he wear a black suit coat and there's red neon. Just about generally.
And there's desert and horses.
Yes, that is also a recurring theme.
And the story is confusing. Well, I think the desert is something like along the lines of something he has to go to like get reinstated back into the organization.
Yeah, didn't that already happen in Parabellum?
He takes a mission or something like that there. I don't know. There's some leader there. So he's going back there and it looks like he wants to shoot the leader or some guy.
Didn't he already do that?
No, he just spoke with the sand boss. Now he's got to go back to the sand boss and beat him. He probably has a cooler gun.
Donnie Yen's in this movie, so always nice to see Donnie Yen in an action movie.
Yep.
And yeah, he and Keanu Reeves are both pushing 60.
Yeah, I'm seeing some shots and his hairline is it's going.
Actually, you know what? It's pretty remarkably.
A lot of it's still there, but he has a lot of forehead at this point.
I don't know. I noticed too much change, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, it's John Wick movie. You've seen it. You've seen it before. It's
and now there's
more John Wick.
More of it than ever.
Who's the big guy with the grills? He looks familiar.
He's probably the new villain. One of the new villains. He'll probably bite John Wick in the dick. Dick.
He'll be like Ruby Rose's character in Chapter 2, where he gets talked up and then immediately is killed.
Yeah.
I like that.
just quick, the Mario Bros. Plumbing commercial. That was cute.
So
Um,
Jake and I were talking before the show,
Yeah.
and we hit on something that I feel is an untapped gold mine, and that's the fact that we all know the Mario Brothers are plumbers, but we've never actually seen them do any plumbing. Where is the Mario Brothers plumbing simulator?
Yeah.
Nintendo, are you listening to me? Mario Brothers simulator, plumbing simulator.
plumbing.
Set it up GTA style, driving around New York, Queens, Brooklyn, all of it. Biggest map ever in a video game.
Digitally recreate Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
You play as them,
Captain
going
Lou
door to
Albano.
door and doing plumbing jobs here and there.
It
And the
will be
Goombas you got to stop out are the Italian mafia.
They're actual Goombas,
The actual
hanging
Goombas.
down by
It's
the
just
telly.
Mafia 4, the Mario Bros.
The mushrooms are just psychedelics.
I mean, I think this was the most popular trailer that came out last week because everyone's hyped on it. There's been like 20 or 30 edits where everyone's like, guys, what if the scene from the first trailer segues directly into this, where Bowser says, "Oh, who's gonna stop me?" and it smash cuts to this commercial. What if that was how the movie started? Guys, what if that was how the movie started? Guys, but what if that was how the movie started?
Well, there was always the rumor that, not live action, but it could take place in the real world and something happens to him where he gets teleported to the Mushroom Kingdom.
That in both the trailers, we show him getting spat out of a pipe into.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's what happens, and it does actually start off with like this shit, but
they're gonna adapt the IRL segments from the 1990s movie.
Yeah.
If only.
Don't get I can only get so wrecked.
All right.
They're gonna be in their actual rival with the Scapelli Bros.
Lastly, let's talk Tetris.
Yes. Tetris.
So this kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't. You'd think they'd put this one in as a Super Bowl ad, but they put Rihanna on
They had
the
their own
halftime
agenda
show instead. I think this is probably the best way you are gonna pull off a Tetris movie.
I guess so. You're not gonna make a video game movie for Tetris in the same way you would one for Sonic, where you set it. Well, Sonic didn't do this, and that's probably why it was good. But you're not setting a movie in the world of the game with the characters of the game. You're making a movie about the making of the game. Sort of similar to Air, but I feel like this is far more fictionalized, and I would imagine so, because it's basically Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy with the license about, although instead of national secrets, it's the licensing rights to Tetris.
It's really good. Great. Like, it's kind of got the same kind of comedy drama kind of thing as like Argo.
It feels a little, in some ways, it reminds me a little of Weird, the Al Yankovic story, with how like out there it seems.
Realistic absurdity,
but you could say the same, based on a true story bit for Weird, because it's based on someone's life very loosely.
Yeah.
As
you could for this.
Yeah. So it's the story of acquiring the rights to the Tetris. Like, the guy, I don't know who the main character is or who the main guy is. He sees it one day in like a Russian like fair or something. He's like, we have to get this over here. It's the perfect game. And he's like in the fucking lab, the government lab, and they're like, only 10 people have ever seen this before. We're calling it the Game Boy. He's like, it needs Tetris on it.
Package of Tetris.
how are we going to get the license? Smash cut to fucking Red Square. And he's like, he's coming in and they're spying on him. And they're like, hey, your every move is being watched. They have your wife and kids.
They broke into your apartment.
You have to get Tetris out. And they're like doing a fucking car chase in the streets of Moscow as he's like trying to smuggle Tetris out of the country.
This sounds like something we would come up with.
It really does sound like a Saturn Studs bit. When we spell it out like this, it really feels like something we would have improv'd.
Let's put Taron Egerton on a financial heist.
Yeah.
A smuggling operation.
It's a
into
heist
Soviet
movie,
Russia.
and then Peter would chime in, but it's got to be something really boring. Like something super mundane that no one would ever want to make a heist movie about.
Licensing rights to Tetris.
Genius.
Yes.
Blumhouse.
My favorite part of this whole fucking trailer is like it's the action climax of it, and they're running from the Ruskies, and they're intercutting it with like this could change everything. The Soviet Union is collapsing, as if to imply that like Tetris was going to end the Cold War.
I mean, no, that's ridiculous. Everyone knows that Rocky IV ended the Cold War.
If they make a reference to that coming out, Rocky IV just dropped. Oh my God.
When did Rocky IV come out?
The Soviet Union is collapsing, much like a Tetris.
Rocky IV was a profit, 1985. The Game Boy, I don't think, came out until it was 89 in the U.S. I don't know if that was a global release, though. Game Boy release date.
So,
April
not to be a chill.
12th, 1890.
Was the Game Boy package was Tetris, though?
Yes. Tetris was the packing game for the Game Boy, and it was a smash hit.
It was fucking huge.
I mean,
people, I don't think they're probably a good, almost a majority, I would bet, of people who just didn't ever buy another game for the fucking Game Boy because Tetris it just did it all.
A lot of businessmen, actually, and it's kind of funny. The guy who invented the Game Boy got the idea because he was on a train in Japan and he saw a businessman just like kind of playing with his calculator to pass the time, and he's like, there might be a market for portable video games.
Wow.
I'm not going to lie. I lost a lot of hours in college to a little game on Facebook called Tetris Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And I was good.
Like every time Tetris comes out, well, most times, there's been some bad Tetrises.
I was ranked nationally, my dudes. I mean, somewhere I was placed, but
I'm pretty damn good at Tetris myself.
I was a Tetris fiend. I would be up late at night battling noobs at Tetris and being like, "Fucking you little Nimrod."
Remember when they released Tetris Effect, which was just OG Tetris but with good graphics?
Yeah,
and people went fucking bananas again over
Sony? Was that the PlayStation one?
Yeah. And then they said, what if we did Tetris, but Battle Royale? And then it fucking sold gangbusters again. Like it's absolutely absurd how powerful that game is. So yeah, no, it could end. It has the power to end the Cold War. I mean, I do believe that. And not to be a shill, but like, if anything's gonna get me to fucking actually get Apple TV into my house, I guess this is it. Ted Lasso wasn't going to do it.
This might This might force us to make my father-in-law have to reset his password because we forgot it.
Guys, don't worry about it. When it's released, it will appear on my Plex server.
There's a little next button. And it's the Tetris movie.
You won't have to ask anything about how it
comes
got
down
there.
From the top of the screen.
And it'll be perfectly legitimate, I promise.
Did it fall off the back of a truck?
It will have fallen off the back of a truck.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
It could be hot.
You're going to want to turn this one around quick. Don't sit on the product. You know what I mean?
So yeah, that's the Tetris movie.
And that's trailers.
Yep, that's trailers. An
Fuck me.
hour and
Jake
5 into it.
boys.
We're going to speed through the rest of the show here and just go right into follow up. Domestic Weekend 6, February 10th through 12th, 2023. Magic Mike's Last Dance leads the box office. And mind you, I said leads the box office. Opening with an $8.3 million gross in just 1,500 theaters.
I guess good for that movie. I don't know how well that stacks up against the other two.
I would imagine that's a good bit below. I also should switch the view on the thing. Yeah, Magic Mike's Last Dance has made $22 million worldwide so far. Hot on its heels, moving back into second, is Avatar: The Way of Water, down 36.3% from the last week. $7.2 million in 3,000 theaters. It has crossed the $2.2 billion mark, so it's on its way to good things, but I don't think it's gonna jump up a spot on the all-time gross list.
Yeah.
And a movie that's just a couple spots behind it on the all-time gross list. Its 25th anniversary re-release made $6.7 million in its opening week. And since this is a classic film, I guess, if you can call something that was made in 1997 classic, you figure the opportunity to review it or to spotlight it would not come around again. And since it was not since this podcast did not exist in 1997 on account of me being 3 years old, let's go ahead and
do it now.
Spotlight it now, shall we?
And this is, we'll go for it. Real reviews. And not only real reviewer traits, vintage, like down the ancestral line reviewer traits.
So I sometimes read the submission date on my reviews. I'm going to do it for this all the time on this, but pay close attention to some of these dates. Boyo-2. He's only the second person to be Boyo on IMDb. And that's because this 10 out of 10 review was submitted July 30th, 1998.
Oh, yes.
I was still 3 years old. Not quite 4.
IMDb, it's been around that long.
One for the ages. This movie rewrote film history in every way. No one cares what anyone thinks about this movie because it transcends criticism. Every flaw in the movie is easily overcome by the many amazing things the movie has going for it. It is an extremely beautiful movie, and I doubt many of us will see anything like it again. I've seen it more times than I care to count, and I still become transfixed every time, with a feeling which is hard to describe. One for the ages. 538 out of 822 found that helpful.
Amazing.
So I'll do an old one next, but I had a really long one that I'm gonna skip because on time. Instead, we'll do a new one. We'll do a fresh one from January 17th
It's hot.
of our Lord and Savior 2023. 1 out of 10. Titanic ruined my life.
Oh.
This is by Sveka. Sveka. Here I was thinking I could turn on a simple movie these days, hoping that it could provide some hours of entertainment and even some thought-provoking conversations in my life. However, with this, quote, movie, which is a glorified, quote, chick flick, all I found in my house, my castle, was degeneracy and sadness. Obviously, when I learned this, I did not blame my son, who I found watching the car scene. I blame this sad excuse for a moving picture. Now, some of you may say, who cares if there is some mature scenes? And I must say, if you believe that, then you are truly lost. And you must have drank the Kool-Aid.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Oh my god.
On to my next point. This actor they chose to be the man is
Who is this actor they chose to be the man? Leonardo DiCaprio? Never heard of him.
the man.
How
No,
many
no, no.
Oscars did he win?
Just the famous actor from Titanic, the man. Not the main character, the asshole boyfriend. This actor they chose to be the man is a certified creep, which makes this movie lose 4 Bob points. Also,
Oh no, not my coveted Bob points.
also, I must say that the lady was very weird, and it seemed she wanted man to die. Either way,
There was
please
room.
please rate yes and follow me for more Minecraft uploads. Huh?
Boys, the passage of time. Fucking amazing.
I missed that last part when I read it real quick. Huh? Minecraft uploads? Okay, Sweka, you have my interest. I will look for more Minecraft uploads.
Holy crap. All right.
He's only ever rated Bones, by the way.
Individual episodes of Bones. How many Bob points does the average episode of Bones get?
The whole series, 2005 to 2017. 1 out of 10.
Oh, he did not like Bones.
Bones, is there a total of 5 bones shown during the entire
I think this man is a genius troll, and I want his autograph.
I only saw like 5 bones. Bad show.
There will be one Netflix password for the entire country. You don't even know what you're saying. It'd just be Bones all day long.
Oh, all right. So like we said, we got some from back in the day, from when they first saw the movie when it first came out. And one of these boys is Grendel 20.
Oh, Grendel.
With their 6 out of 10 mixed emotions, submitted 17th December 1998. Well, of course I saw the movie on the opening weekend, and I guess I was kind of way too psyched up because the flick didn't really live up to my expectations. Hey, it was big, and I mean really big. Beautifully shot, great special effects, fine actors. First time I saw Leonardo, he was actually okay, and a really over-the-top budget. Just too bad the story sucked big time. I mean, there was absolutely nothing new. It was just one big rewrite of films already shot 100 times. That's kind of too bad. Well, 2 out of 3 found that.
Okay. I was waiting for it.
There's about 30 ellipses after that. I'm so glad the ellipses. Side note, I'm glad the ellipses fallen out of fashion. It's a punctuation from an older time. You need to use it sparingly. Old people use it so often, and it's just the giveaway that you're out of touch. It's how I know people you succumb to dementia when you start using ellipses everywhere, and you use way too big ellipses. My 2 cents.
I'm glad you have such strong feelings on it. All right. Here's a more recent review from Suko Armada, I think is the name there. 10 out of 10. Why low score? People are crazy. They rate Avengers so
when
high.
was this submitted?
July 31st, 2020.
Oh, okay. Shit. I was hoping people have been complaining about why the hate for
That would have been great, but no, this is more recent. I picked it because it's Titanic. It's a 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah.
People are crazy. They rate Avengers so high, then they rate this masterpiece low? This is beyond absurd. You guys should encourage great filmmakers like this one, not stupid ones like the superhero franchises. For the love of God. 260 out of 3 of 3 found that helpful.
Oh my god. Oh.
Okay, I found one just in time. So I was actually looking for one that really dated it, and I only found one that like dated the review where he had talked about renting headsets on planes. Because he's complaining.
Don't worry, I got the one that'll date this all so bad. I'm good.
Okay, this is good because this shows you that the IMDb reviewers have not aged since
They're immortal.
This okay enough. 1 out of 10. 18 of September 1998. Let's sink this ship right now. It's over, baby. There's nothing left. This is a bad movie. I'm not saying there's any harm in enjoying a bad movie, but some of you people have taken it too far. Epic? Greatest movie of all time? Deserving of 11 Oscars? I spit on the ground of you people. You have seen it 5, 6, 7 times. Walk on. Bad script plus ridiculous acting plus egotistical chucklehead director equal piece of filth movie. I love watching piece of filth movies as much as the next guy, but all of you people with your Leo posters and your Titanic t-shirts and your greatest movie of all time attitudes have driven me and others with even half a bit of common sense to hate and loathe this movie. I no longer hold this little travesty in any higher regard than I hold, quote, Hollywood chainsaw hookers. No offense to Hollywood chainsaw hookers, people. 14 out of 129 found that helpful.
That was probably the most eloquent 1 out of 10.
I mean, yeah. How can you not give it up for Hollywood chainsaw hookers?
I spit on the ground of all of you people.
I spit on you.
All right, and to finish this off, I think
I ran number 1 USA.
Perhaps the most 90s review of all time here. From Chubbs 2. 6 out of 10.
I never
it's
saw
good.
Chubbs 2.
It's good, but come on, everyone went overboard. 1st September 1999. Now, this movie made over $1 billion, and I'm happy to say that not a single one of those dollars were mine. I have seen it, but I saw it at a company preview, and I work at a video store, so free videos. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the movie, but the hype that went on over it and the outpour of praise for Leonardo DiCaprio from fans that came out of the woodwork who really didn't appreciate Leo's previous and better work, such as This Boy's Life and The Basketball Diaries. Now, they were good movies. Everyone was urged to see this movie. It was almost uncool not to have seen. If someone had asked you if you had seen it and you answered no, they thought you were crazy. Well, I decided to make a stand against it. This movie was pure Hollywood, no real story. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen with the love story. I can't believe it made so much money. I mean, everyone knew the ending. It sank. If you are to watch it, make sure you watch an original copy with surround sound, or better yet, see it on DVD. Now, I don't mean to sound harsh, But come on, it wasn't that good to warrant $1 billion. 4 out of 7 found that helpful.
Go out and get yourself a DVD player.
Go
and
get
treat
it on
yourself.
DVD, guys.
Well, in 1999, DVD was a brand new format, and it was actually rather expensive.
Wait till he finds out about Blu-ray. He's gonna shit himself.
I know. I kind of want to see like where are they now? Oh, he stopped reviewing in 2006.
Probably because he died. How many? Do you think any of our reviewers died?
I'm sure at least one of them.
I'm sure.
Statistically.
I mean, because most of them are new. Most of them are fresh reviewers. I mean, I know we gotta like. It's always tough when one of our IMDb reviewers die because it's hard. You gotta go find them in the barn, and like you gotta pick over the live ones, and you don't want to keep them there too long because then they'll start to stink and rot up against the fresh ones. So that's really unfortunate.
I'm trying to find the. I closed out my other review here. Here it is. Yeah, where are you, Grendel20? They only reviewed this and The Crow.
What they have to say about The Crow?
The Crow could quite. I don't know. I don't see the star rating, but I think it's high because they said The Crow could quite possibly be one of the best movies ever made. It has this gut ripping and. All right, sorry, I should put it into his voice. The Crow could quite possibly be one of the best movies ever made. It has this gut-ripping, dark, and moody atmosphere that you seldom see anywhere else. Personally, I always get a weird sensation in my stomach, not unlike butterflies, when I watch The Crow. By the way, I would like to recommend the comic books. They're mostly very true to the Crow concept. Not like that god-awful sequel. Sigh.
What's this guy's name?
Grendel20.
Is that maybe like, are you sure it's not Onyx the Fortuitous? I've only ever heard of one other person that really liked The Crow.
I like The Crow just fine.
That's not true.
Yes,
There's only one other person.
I like The Crow. It's a pretty good movie.
Look, can't just lie to our viewers like that.
It's legitimately pretty good. It's got it made me laugh really hard with one joke that it had where Brendan Lee's character walks into The hotel or something like that. He's fighting the guy. He's telling a joke. He's like, so Jesus Christ walks into a hotel and he puts some nails on the counter and says, "Can you put me up for the night?" And I was like, that's really funny.
I can't find. Let me see. Can't find what rating he actually gave to it.
All right. Well, anyway, back to box office.
Back to the present day.
80 for Brady falls 2 spots and 54.3%. Still made $5.3 million, which is way too much money for this movie. It's made almost $23 million.
That's all built off the backs of retired people in like old folks' home.
They watched that instead of watching the Super Bowl.
They got confused and just started watching. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish remains in fifth, $5.5 million. That's brought its worldwide gross to $401 million.
Good on you, Puss in Boots.
Good on you indeed. Knock at the Cabin drops 5 spots. Not a great look for M. Night Shyamalan.
You mean the M. Night Shyamalan movie? Once people saw what was happening in it, turned out to not be very good.
I mean, even 80 for Brady dropped 2 spots. That's rough.
80 for Brady out-earned Knock at the Cabin in its second week and is currently playing in more theaters. What is wrong with the world?
Holy shit, kids.
A Man Called Otto.
I kind of want to see what happened with it now.
It's like all of M. Night Shyamalan's movies. They just suck. A Man Called Otto, $2.6 million. Found itself 7th. Missing, 2.5 million in 8th. Megan, in its 6th week, finds itself in 9th, down 2 spots. 2.4 million for that. And rounding out the top 10, up a spot into the top 10 is Plane, bringing in $1.2 million.
Get back in it, buddy. Enjoy that week. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. I was
your
gonna say,
Kanye.
is there anything fun in the bottom rungs here? But nah.
Concentration after the alleged suicide of her, or consecration, open this week. After the alleged suicide of her priest brother, Grace travels to the remote
I saw
Scottish
the
covenant
trailer for this.
where he fell to his death. Distrusting the church's account, she uncovers murder, sacrilege, and disturbing truth about herself.
Yeah, it's the creepy nuns
Yeah.
movie. Shout out to I'm Mordecai. A Holocaust survivor born and raised in a different time must face the realities of a modern world. When confronted with an unfamiliar object, an iPhone, will Mordecai be able to fit into a world that's changed so much around him? Who knows?
Who could remember?
Who could forget? Yeah, so that's the lineup, the roundup, the up and up movies that were out this week.
Yep. Follow up is what we call the segment. And
Oh, really?
I like movies that were out this week.
we're going for the tautological.
I mean, it's already in my templating. We're not changing.
Movies that made the money the weekend before recording this version.
That is rather on the nose, don't you think?
Nice and smooth. Kind of rolls off the palate like a bowling ball.
All right, let's talk gaming news, and we'll keep it brief because I don't want to be here all night.
Everything is about Hogwarts Legacy. It's all schwitzing about how they mod Hogwarts Legacy and how, I don't know, J.K. Rowling's transphobic.
So we already talked.
We litigated this last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now it's out to the general public, right? I think.
Yeah,
Like
and it's probably making gangbusters.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. That's for sure. Resident Evil 4 is partying like it's 2011 with a deluge of day one DLC. Resident Evil 4 Remake Premium Deluxe Plus Mini Season Pass Bioterrorist Edition can be had. That's not actually what it's called.
Okay, I was like, I'm gonna fucking bomb.
No, a quick
and I had a tooth removed.
However, a quick perusal of RE4 Microsoft's store page reveals a total of 13 different content packs, presumably available separately in addition to being bundled in with the $70 digital deluxe edition. These packs include mostly outfits and cosmetic options, but also 2 new weapons and the aforementioned treasure map in the paragraph I didn't read preceding this. Yeah, 13 different configs of content. That's when you know you're playing a Capcom game.
Yep. Oh, Capcom. You know, I kind of respect Konami for just becoming a pachinko.
That is
company.
The first time anyone has ever said that in like 15 years.
They went with their honest truth and said, let's just do the Skinner box. Let's just get money from people gambling. Like, you know, we're not going to try any of this fancy stuff. It's popular, but, you know, we want to do something traditional, you know, that reaches to the core values of our addicted audience.
Yeah.
Tiny balls flying everywhere, making insane amounts of noise. And they give you a little plaque for when you win, because that's not money. But, you know, you go to the store next door and you turn it in for actual money.
Yeah, it's like how in Kansas you're not allowed to sell liquor and ice in the same transaction. So there's just circumstantially a little cash register just outside the liquor store with ice around it for me to buy.
Amazing. Powerful.
In some uplifting news, Mick Gordon is donating his fee for Atomic Heart, the upcoming Bioshock-inspired adventure game, to humanitarian aid for the Ukraine. He
Nice.
praised the game developer as an absolute delight to work with. I think they are Ukrainian, or at least some of the people on the studio. Mudfish, a Russian studio, but Gordon's donation is intended to be a disavowal of either the game or its developer, which Gordon praised for its highly for its commitment to imagination and artistic freedom.
And hey, Mick Gordon got paid for a soundtrack he worked on. Good job.
I think he got paid for it. It just wasn't as much as it should have been, if I recall correctly.
Let's Mick Gordon Doom soundtrack controversy. Composer alleges unpaid work and offers of hush money. Let's see. He was given tight deadlines and very little direction. Gordon has alleged that he was offered a six-figure settlement to never speak publicly of the Doom Eternal soundtrack debacle. Yeah, so I guess they were trying to blame him for the failure of the soundtrack.
So
this is drama shit.
I remember, my earliest memory of this drama is that someone on Twitter posted a comparison between a track that appears in both Doom and Doom Eternal, and he's like, this one in Doom Eternal is very poorly mixed. I can't believe, someone as talented as Mick Gordon would mix something this poorly. And then Mick Gordon responded to that tweet saying, yeah, but except I'm not the one who mixed it. And then that kind of sparked one thing to another, and then there were all sorts of allegations, and I still think pending litigation.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Last bit of news, preview for a review. I got my Steam Deck today, and I've been using it for a little bit, not a ton, but my first impressions are it's pretty nifty little device. It's wide, it's very wide. It doesn't really come across in all the pictures and media you see of it, but it's very wide. It's about, I have a 14-inch laptop, and it's about the same width as that. But it is very comfortable to use, very ergonomic. I would say that the build quality, I wouldn't say it feels cheap, although the back paddle buttons don't feel very premium. And the whole device, I would stop short of saying feels premium. It doesn't feel cheap, but you can tell that material choice was one of the areas in which they compromised to make the price point what it was. But I'll use this for the next couple weeks, and then I'll probably have a portion of a review on the show, and then maybe a longer extended review up on the YouTube channel, which might also happen for Sonic Frontiers rather, which is the next game that I'm going to be reviewing, because I have a lot of thoughts on that. I could probably do like a 45-minute review on it, and I don't want to have that in the middle of the show. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm almost done with that game. I had hoped to have it for the show this week, but I just did not have time during the week to put any more hours to it. But yeah, it was kind of late week in gaming news. Nothing too interesting happening. So with that, we'll pump up the jam to our feature presentation here, which is the Netflix BBC One co-produced Cunk on Earth, which this Diane Morgan, this Philomena Cunk character of hers, has been in many a thing. I was actually researching this before I even started watching it, because I saw the picture. I'm like, is that the girl from the IT crowd? It's not, but I did find out that this Cunk character has been in a lot of different series
since, I guess, 2013. I'm looking here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard that like name before in comedy context, like here and there. It's just one of those characters, and if she's in TV, and that's her character that she does all the time, then she'll just show up here and there doing stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she did that on Death to 2020, which is another Netflix produced thing that they put out, and she was in that apparently as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the premise here is it's like a history of the Earth docu-series made by this woman, Philomena Cunk, who is very clueless, but confidently so.
Yeah.
I think that's what wins it for me, is the confidence.
Yeah. I would describe it as like a history miniseries done by a Daily Show correspondent.
It does have a very Daily Show correspondent feel
Which is
to
a
the
good
interviews. Thing. Yes, it is a good thing, and I will get it out of the way. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I laughed a lot at a lot of the jokes, and I felt it was very clever in a lot of the spots. Some of the people she was interviewing were better sports than others.
Yep.
But overall, it was a very entertaining, like 2.5 hours to watch, and it's definitely worth your time. So you'll find something to laugh at.
Yeah, a little bit of trivia beforehand. All the experts know it is a mock interview, but are asked to take the questions as seriously as they can, be respectful, and not make their own jokes. Which, for the most part, that was portrayed pretty honestly. Like, it really seemed like they were answering her dumb questions.
The funniest line in the whole show for me is when she's talking to the guy who tells her that Great Britain still has nuclear weapons. Yeah. And she's like, let's talk about something else. Do you like ABBA? And he just, in the same stern tone of voice he talked about nuclear proliferation, said, I love ABBA.
What's your favorite song? Dancing Queen.
Oh, yeah. The I love ABBA sent me. It nearly fell off my fucking couch laughing.
They do some great shit, and like they do some really good puns too. I think
the one where
I did not expect to enjoy it this much, but I laughed so much because the jokes are just so fucking clever, well written, well done.
Yeah. One I will spoil one joke where they're talking about Elvis. We won't spoil too many jokes off the bat. Because it's all about that's all it is. But they're talking about Elvis, and I didn't get it at first until the interviewee broke character and started corpsing. She's like, yeah, no, if people saw Elvis's dick on TV, they'd have a stroke. And I was like, and when it clicked, I was like, oh, a stroke in it.
Like they had some really clever stuff. I saw a lot of stuff on TikTok before, and I was like, what is this? And then like I found out it was coming to Netflix at the end of January.
Netflix pushed this super hard. Like I had ads on my Android TV home screens for like weeks in advance of this. It's like coming soon. I'm like, don't advertise it to me unless I can watch it.
Yeah. I think that's a new thing on Netflix, the coming soon aspect of it. Which I don't mind actually, but I wouldn't say advertise it like I want to watch it right away. The joke that got me was when she was talking about Jesus Christ and how he was named and how it was ironic for him to become a carpenter because he was named after the thing you're most likely going to say when you hit your hand with a hammer. And I just thought that was like just comedy perfection.
Yeah, it's great.
It was just
I
well
mean,
delivered,
a
well
lot
written.
of the jokes, like they move pretty quickly through them. They don't like linger on it for too long, which is good in a sense that like they don't lampshade hang, but it also has a slightly negative effect of where you might be laughing very hard at one joke, but since it doesn't like pause to give you that moment to laugh, that you miss the next joke. That happened to me a lot with I Think You Should Leave, because this like one offhand comment in a sketch would like send me dying laughing for 3 minutes, and I'd miss almost the rest of the sketch.
Yeah, that happened quite a bit where like you laugh too much, then it moves on to the next joke, and you're like, wait, what did you say? And then you laugh again.
Yeah.
There were a lot
that does I guess lend itself to repeated viewing. So
yeah, so
good on you there.
There's not much to like kind of review about it. I mean, because there's no story other than the fact that she tells the history of people, just from
It's the
get
most
go and
generic kind of history miniseries.
Yeah, she really glosses over
just
and
like
just skims the surface. Yeah, that it's just
Yeah.
a sneeze of history.
Yeah, like it's kind of a joke in of itself where like she'll just like skip over China
Yeah,
and non
who also existed at the same time. And like when they did the beginning bit on Russia, is like who we haven't mentioned up to this point, but was there the whole time.
was there the whole time. The way she talks about like countries and just the passage of time in a weird sense, like the way she just doesn't understand that lends itself to so many jokes. Like the talking about the phonograph, being like, hey, do you think if we shout back, do you think they'll be able to hear us? Like, what do you think they'll say?
Yeah, really not understanding.
Do you think they'd freak out or to like tell them like how they're doing?
Can it record future events? It's like, well, no. Can it record the past? No, it would if it was recording. Seems a bit limited then.
Yeah, it seems a bit limited.
What was the thing about like? Oh, was it the printing press?
Yeah,
or no,
invented
the
in
Edison.
China. But
The Edison,
they had
the
sunlight
light bulb.
and candles.
So you're telling me they already had sunlight and then candles for night. So like the light bulb really didn't do anything then. You didn't need it. Kind of lame at that point when you think about it though.
Yeah. It was interesting for me that like all this kind of thing in a weird roundabout way is the exact argument for like there are no stupid questions, even though all she asks are absolutely stupid questions.
Yeah, anyone who says that there are no such thing as stupid questions needs to spend a semester in a freshman level physics class.
Yeah.
I assure you,
like,
there are stupid questions.
Like very capable professors could spin the shit she says into like interesting topic discussions, and that was like rattling around through my mind. I'm like, that's almost like a good question, but just phrased in the most moronic way possible.
Yeah, one of the experts like did a really good job of like taking her stupid bullshit and like trying to answer it in a way that like proffered it as a coherent question to begin with.
Was it the philosophy guy?
I think it was. Yeah, it was the philosophy.
He was like, "That's a really interesting way to spin it." And yeah, if you think of it like this, we do.
He was just great too because he was the most posh fucking.
That was.
He reminded me a lot of Cormac in certain ways.
Yes.
Douglas Headley.
Yes.
That was
it's a very important question that you asked here today. I could see myself falling asleep in one of it, like several other philosophers fucking rapt at attention of whatever bullshit he was saying, and me dead asleep in that lecture hall. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
It was, and like what was also funny is like all the different ways that, especially the different kind of professors like responded to the stupidity too. Because like all the British ones, like they had that very dry kind of like condescending, like, no, well, that's not really right, is it? And then you had like the one American dude who she asked about like American war history,
Yeah.
and us being American, we have to deal with John Q. Public all the time. Academics have to deal with an onslaught of
Idiots.
idiots on people of the common clay of the New West, morons on a daily basis. So like he had a very proactive approach to answering those questions.
Yeah. He was a guy who I felt like wasn't as good, like not knowing that they were informed ahead of time that it was supposed to be silly. He kind of seemed like he wasn't being a great sport about it, but the dichotomy there is still it works to the favor.
One of my favorite, it's interesting because some of these guys are also like kind of internet figures, or like popular internet figures, like the dude with the big beard, with the giant white beard at the beginning. He was on like he did like a collab with Tom Scott where they played like an ancient Mesopotamian game, and he's like the head of like the Mesopotamian and ancient ancient culture thing at the Royal London Museum. So he knows all about that shit, and like he cracks jokes. Like he's got a fucking wit on him, and you could kind of tell that in that interview where he's like, "Oh, so you're judging? Like, you can't really open it, can you?" He's like, "Well, you're judging a book by its cover, aren't you?" And then it was that, and the dude who had the firearms, he has his own like YouTube series where he like reviews fictional firearms for like how practical they'd be as like actual weapons. So he'll look at like the Halo assault rifle or shit like that.
Huh. The battle rifle will be the most practical weapon of all time because it's the best weapon of all time.
It's almost just a P90.
No, the battle rifle is more like an M16 because it's burst fire.
I meant like the design factor, like the form factor.
Well, no, it's a.
It doesn't have
a
the
rifle.
It doesn't have the,
P90 is a submachine gun. It's like yay big.
I guess
battle rifle, I imagine.
Fucking the grip stock in the site there, but who knows? I seldom touch guns.
I found them on YouTube.
Yeah. So like they're not only are were some of these folks like informed ahead of time. Some of them are like they're hip to the game, and those were fun ones. Yeah. Like it's good. Like she just kind of like runs right through it. There's kind of a variety of types of jokes. It's not there's not really the same kind of character hitting them on every time.
Yeah, there's she doesn't know what she's talking about. There's she's misreading notes from the producer or like poorly relaying information she got from the producer. There's obviously the awkward interview kind of setups. There's scene reenactments and her just kind of not understanding those in certain respects. And then there's the one right at the end, which I won't spoil, but it was pretty funny.
Oh, just give me the clue. Just give me a clue.
Things weren't exactly as they seemed throughout the series.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
I was like, that's a good way to end it. It was keep you guessing. Now you have to go back and watch all the 5 episodes again to see. Oh, okay.
See if you can spot what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, A lot of, a lot. Not all of the humor is like directed entirely on her dialogue. Um, there's a couple good ones in the beginning. Like when the one I laughed at a lot was the computer simulation of the pyramids. That one got me. I will. So I'll be perfectly honest. I like this a lot. This was great writing. This was very well put together. It didn't actually make me laugh a whole lot. The comedy, I know, blasphemy. I just didn't quite hit me on my funny bone when I was watching it.
Well, that might have to do with the mood you were in after getting your tooth pulled out.
It could be. That's why I'm not knocking any points against it. Because, like, if I would, like I said, this feels like The Daily Show, like the correspondence series from The Daily Show. I kind of want Philomena Cunk to be like the replacement for John Oliver on the new Daily Show crew. That would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool.
I'm still waiting on Chelsea Handler to replace the Daily Show host. We're Sarah Silverman now, and it just ain't it.
Ugh. Yeah, that sounds brutal.
I watched like every Chelsea Handler clip that like I came across. I'm skipping the Sarah Silverman ones. I'm like, nah, it ain't it.
So are they rotating?
Yeah. They're rotating. I forgot who the first couple guests were.
So
Sarah
Handler will be back. Chelsea Handler.
Chelsea Handler was like the third or fourth one. I know they had. Shit. They had some black lady.
I guess what I'm asking is, will any of the hosts return who have already?
I don't know if this is like a audition or if this is like just between when they actually
time until while they search.
Yeah, while they search for the new host. I doubt this will be the audition. It's a neat way if they were to treat it like an audition. Or they're probably just getting like points to get back in the buzz. I don't know.
If there was one thing I think Cunk could take it to the next Cunk level. I think back to like I don't know, maybe it's not in her style either. But I think about like how Colbert interviews people when he was on the Colbert Report, and how he would like set everything up and set not just like a kind of weird non sequitur question up, but he'd set up like a whole joke as a question. It's hard to describe. But he would set up something that would be a joke.
Yeah.
In the question, and try and goad the interviewee into corpsing.
Yeah, like a leading joke or leading question to a joke. Mm-hmm. To the punchline.
It's a very kind of it's a nuanced kind of way to do it. So I'm just not comedically proficient enough to describe the majesty that is Stephen Colbert in his prime.
Yeah,
I mean, in essence, this is like some of the like perfect chance to like critique like comedy writing, because it's like a subject that you don't have to like come up with. So nobody had to like go out and think about the history and think about a story. They just had to like portray it in a comical way. And I think that's where kind of the genius shows, is how they go throughout history and pick apart moments in time that may be like kind of lackluster, like finding of religion, or like Constantine just like making the new religion of like Rome, Christianity, or Genghis Khan taking over all the different countries. And just like making that like just super comical and making it like seem like a joke. Neat way to learn about history.
Yeah. I think I know what the difference was for me between the two. I think it's between like her and someone like Stephen Colbert, one of the Daily Show reporters, is like the confidence, because like her character is a very like kind of mousy, quieter kind of interviewer, right? And she's kind of gonna ask a question like this, isn't it weird like that they would if the human ate the lion, would they get fed to it? Would they fight another animal the next day? Whereas, like, if Stephen Colbert would ask the historian, he's like, well, if the human would eat the lion, what kind of animal would they feed him to the next day? You know, like the delivery of that line would give it a whole different character.
Well, yeah,
because they are different characters. Like Stephen
Yeah,
Colbert
I'm not.
describes.
I guess I'm stating the obvious here. You know, I'm not
it's
breaking
the
any ground on
it's
this.
a little bit of the persona where Stephen Colbert may be like more of an adult and more coming off from a mature standpoint, and Philomena is I mean, they told the people like treat her as like an ignorant child, which is kind of how she portrays certain things in her worldview.
Almost like Cartman, like sometimes with like
Yeah.
like a selfishness almost, which is funny.
Mhm.
Yeah. Short to the point. I'm sure she'll get more segments. I almost want to see like a modern politics kind of one, like Cunk's Brentrance into Brexit, or something like that.
I'd like to see like a series like her tackling more in depth.
Well,
things,
there's
topics.
Cunk on Shakespeare. There's Cunk on Britain. There's
Cunk on everything. I think that was even a series.
I
Yeah.
feel like if you dive deep into the catalog here, you'll find the sort of thing you're looking for.
You can get drunk on Cunk.
Yep, go have a Cunk. And I think that's going to just about do it for episode 354 of the Saturn Studs Podcast. Be sure to check out our website, saturnstuds.com, and our YouTube channel for video versions of the podcast. And until next time, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.
Bye-bye.